All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show, man. It is Thursday already. Can you believe it? We are, just, about 36 hours or so away from the real preseason game. The first real preseason game. I need to emphasize that twice. For the Detroit Lions taking on the Atlanta Falcons down in Atlanta tomorrow night. We got a good show for you guys today. We're going to talk about Alim McNeill and his update on his health. Contract talks with Aidan Hutchinson. Man, it was a couple weeks ago. We saw that information that there was talks. Now, Brad's saying there hasn't been any talks. We'll see where that goes. Mahogany, he might be my newest, most favorite athlete on this team for the young guys. I'm really loving where this guy's headspace is. We're going to highlight Mahogany this morning. Eric's got a good segment for us on Kyron Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs. And then we're loaded. We've got the entire media day queued up. We've got a lot of stuff to discuss this morning. So we're going to get off and running here. We'll be back here in about, 15, 20, 60 seconds, something like that. We'll see you back in just a moment.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Hey, good morning, Eric. What's happening, man?
Good morning. Another awesome smoky morning up here in the non-smoky mountains of Upper Michigan.
The non-smoky mountains. We're in the non-smoking section up here in Brinley, Michigan, but they're smoking. That's a problem.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when I went to a hotel last week and I get up onto the top floor and it smells like smoke. I'm like, this is a non-smoking hotel. Every hotel's non-smoking. Why does it smell like smoke? Yeah, I can't stand it. I'm a former smoker. I used to do some dumb stuff in my earlier years, and I cannot stand the smell of smoke. I love campfire, just not cigarettes, man. It's terrible. Anyway, you were saying something. What's happening?
Not too much. Gonna go for a little ride out to Pine Stump Junction today. Might even go do some rock picking today.
There you go.
Something I haven't done in a long time.
What's the weather like up there today?
Super nice. It's 80s.
Well, make sure you don't step into
wants to be a dog until you gotta do some dog shit.
Alex Anzalone is back with the team. It seems like he is back to his old self. He's playing pretty well in practice, and I think that this whole contract situation is, for the moment, it's settled, right? I'm glad to see that he's doing what he needs to do to make things happen for this team this year. But he said something. And I think we're going to be able to highlight it in one of the later videos that we're going to bring in. But he said something that I've been talking about now for 2 or 3 seasons. And so it's all coming full circle now, right? We got to find the video. I'll find it. I'm pretty sure it's in the media collection. And we'll listen to what he said. I'm not going to give it away. I want to make sure that he says it, and then we get the aha moment from the audience, like, aha. I know what you guys have been talking about now. I get it. So let's start with Alim McNeill, though.
All right.
Did a video last night. Came across some information, which I think everybody did at some point in the evening. Alim McNeill had an interesting statement. And it's not a statement that we've really heard from any of the other guys that have been rehabbing or coming back from a major injury, at least this late into their rehab schedule, if you will. So he went down, what was that, November 15th of last year, and what was it, ACL, right? ACL.
Yes.
So that's like a 12-month recovery. You could probably hit the field in 11 months if you're doing well. It's been speculated that he was going to be back very end of October, early November was the goal. I mean, that was the preseason or off-season schedule for him. That's what was being talked about through multiple channels. And I guess, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell kind of said it too at multiple points throughout their press conferences when they were asked about Alim and how he was doing. But Alim came out the other day. When was this? This was August 4th, I believe. And he said, I'm doing great. I don't really call it rehab anymore. I'm in a spot now where I'm just training. I feel really good. Things are going good, so I can't complain. I feel great. So when you listen to that, and the first thing that popped in my head was the Aidan Hutchinson videos, watching him run, inside. The first one, he kind of had a little giddy up to him. He's kind of a little herky jerky. The second one was a little bit better. And the third one, he was flying. The fact that Alim is stating that he's no longer really in rehab phase, that he's just training, that to me sounds like he's fully healed. And now he's trying to build the rest of that strength up that maybe he could have lost, to that leg or to the lower half of his body there. So this is great news. Speculation now is early October. He might only miss 6 games. That would be huge for us to get him back before the bye week. But something tells me, how Dan and Brad are. They don't want to rush him back. They're probably going to wait until after the bye week. Even if he's a full go, if this defense is playing well, they might give him an extra few weeks because they want him for the rest of the season, not a couple of games that may or may not make or break the year. It really depends on where we are. I'd say that if we're 5-2 at the break, or if let's say we're 3-1 in the first quarter, they wouldn't rush him back if he could come back in week 5. If we're 1-4 or 1-3 and he's able to play and it's not really a rush, they'd probably try to bring him back, is my guess. That's my professional estimate for you. What are your thoughts? What did you think when you what was going through your noggin there when you heard this?
The very first thing that went through my brain was Adrian Peterson.
Oh no.
So back in 2011, he tore both his ACL and MCL in December of 2011. And that was in his left knee. And then despite the severity of the injury, Peterson returned to the field for the Vikings season opener in September 2012, just 8 months later. So 260 days from the time he hurt his knee to the time he went back to the field. And Peterson's 2000 season was exceptional. He rushed for over 2,000 yards coming off an ACL and an MCL with only 260 days to heal. And I've never heard of anyone ever doing that again.
What was the yardage?
He did over 2,000 yards that season.
So he had an insanely good season. I mean, one of the best ever for a running back.
Yep, in 2012, the year after he blew his MCL and ACL on his left knee, and he only had 260 days, 8 months from the time he did it to the time he was back on the field.
I mean, that's a crazy feat, right? That a running back was able to do that. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference, I think. I mean, 300 plus. Yeah, 300 plus pound guy versus, I think Adrian is probably what, $195, maybe 205.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. But it's all relative, right? I mean, a ligament's a ligament. Muscle is muscle. You have to rehab it. You need to get back to where you originally were if you want to be able to play, at the same level that you were. And Alim has been, he's been one of the best in the league. Top 15, top 16 by most metrics. And I think he's had a tremendous impact on this defense. And I think he's had a tremendous impact with Aidan Hutchinson. I think when those guys are, I know when those guys are lined up next to each other, there's not too many offensive lines that can handle that. You know, one, you're going up against a right tackle, which genuinely or generally, I should say, is the lesser of the two, unless you're Penei Sewell. And so he's able to take advantage of that. And Alim McNeill's been garnering more double teams than Aidan Hutchinson has. It's a proven fact by the numbers. You know, if you're not counting a chip, I'm counting a true double team, not a chip and a release by a tight end or a chip and a release by a running back. This could be incredibly perfect timing for Alim McNeill if he gets back early, or we may see him wait. So I'd like to know in the comments below, what do you guys think? As Lions fans, I know, because I am one, what's probably rattling through your head right now is, man, I just don't want him to get hurt again. I just want him to be able to finish the season. And I don't want to risk it, right? You don't want to risk it for the biscuit. You want to make sure that Alim's feeling 1,000% before you get him back on the field. I get that. I have the same feeling. But I'm going to trust in the process and trust in our guys. I think that the majority of our players that have come back from injury have not taken a big step backwards. All right, look at Amik Robertson's playing well. Tim Patrick's playing well, even though he was injured prior to coming to the Lions, but he still utilized the trainers, in Detroit. Aidan Hutchinson's playing well. Alex Anzalone's playing well. So I'm less concerned. I think that this team, this organization has a really good pulse on injuries, especially having gone through so many in the last couple of seasons. So that's your quick update for Alim McNeill. I'll finish with this. He said, man, the defenses look good. This was on Monday. He says they are flying around a little bit, getting upfield, and it's going to be fun when I rejoin them. He said join, but I used the word rejoin. I'm excited to see him come back, and especially hearing the good things that we've been hearing about Tyleik Williams and how he has been just an absolute animal so far in practice. And he's been pushing the pocket and having some success. Having both of these guys next to each other, when DJ Reader's having a little bit of a breather, I think both those guys are going to be able to terrorize some of these offensive lines. We've got a really good front developing, man. What's your overall thoughts on the defensive line?
I think it's going to be something we haven't seen. This whole defense, I mean, from the back end with the DBs, everything, I think, is an upgrade this season. Even the linebackers, I think, are going to be better this year. The defense as a whole, if we can stay healthy, man, they're unstoppable. And you want to know something? Yesterday, Jim Harbaugh did an interview, and someone asked him, what did you think of the Detroit Lions in the Hall of Fame game? And he had a 2-word answer: great depth.
Who was that?
Jim Harbaugh. He said that the Lions had great depth. So he knows what's up. He knows it was nothing about the score of that game. He knows that some of his starters were playing against our backups, but he was saying that we had great depth.
Well, that has been the MO of Brad Holmes that a lot of this fan base does not understand. They don't understand, and I'm not trying to be mean, right? But I feel like a large part of this fan base does not get, one, how to build a franchise, how to run a franchise. It's more than just the names on the backs of the jerseys. It's more than just the position that you're taking, right? That's what you see, us as fans. That's what we see, is the names on the backs of the jerseys that are playing in the football game. What the organization sees is that plus a whole lot more, including the dollars and cents, right? Everything has to fit into its bucket. If you can't make everything fit together, if the puzzle is in a million pieces and you put it together for a couple of seasons and then it breaks all apart again, you haven't done a good job as a GM or as an organization. You need to try to keep that puzzle together. And if you can't, you're taking out a piece, you're putting a new piece in. And it's got to fit like a glove. It has to. And so far, what Brad has done is bringing these guys in, and they fit naturally within this defense and the offense. So again, I think that it's something that maybe Lions fans are going to be learning over the course of time, because let's be honest, we haven't been here, right? We haven't been to this state where we're 5 years into a new regime. 5 years, Eric. When's the last time we had a coach make his fifth season?
Never.
Well, no, they have. I mean, Wayne Fonts, obviously, and some others, but he has now supplanted Jim Caldwell, right?
You have to go back to the early or the late 80s, early 90s to see someone that stayed for 5 years.
It might have been Wayne Fonts, might have been the last one to do it, and I want to say that Caldwell had 4.5 seasons.
Yep.
I'll pull it up. But while I'm pulling that up,
Attila the Hun just gave us a $2 super chat and said someone should have gotten Carter over Gibbs.
oh no, no, Attila, we'll go rounds on that one.
Yeah,
that'll be a 12 rounder, buddy.
And someone in the chat had a question about Mekhi Wingo. He is still on the physically unable to perform list.
Yeah. Attila, you don't want my thoughts on that right now. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the brief version. How many games do we win without Gibbs over the last 2 seasons? Take away his 20 touchdowns last year. Who fills in those 20 touchdowns? Because it's not David Montgomery, right? We don't have another running back not named Gibbs that could have done that. So I guess what I'm saying here is there ain't no way we're winning as many games as we have over the last few seasons without Gibbs. He's an integral piece to this defense, or I'm sorry, this offense. I think it was a perfect pickup. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
We have went games without Montgomery. We haven't went games without Gibbs.
Say that again.
We've went for a string of games without Montgomery. He missed 4 or 5 games at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. We have not had the same for Gibbs. We haven't had a 4 or 5 game stretch where Gibbs is out with a hamstring or something. I think his rookie season.
And hold on, and we won't have a stretch. We won't have a stretch like that. I don't want to see it, but that's a good point. It's a very good point. Yeah. So when he had to step in and take over for Montgomery, he elevated his game.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 23.
Well, that was last year.
Well, no, I'm saying in 23, the first time.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think he landed on the football, David Montgomery. I think he landed on a football and bruised up his ribs or something.
Yep.
Last year was the knee.
Mm-hmm.
And so both times we won football games. And the rush attack, the run game got better. So I would say that Carter would have been an interesting piece, right? I'm not saying that he's a bad football player. He's a great football player. But he doesn't fit the culture and the identity of this team, at least at that time coming out of college. He didn't. I think, based on what was being printed about him. I don't think anyone really wanted to take a chance, and I don't think the Lions were in a position to take a chance. And if I'll take 30 more seconds on this, I would say this. When you are building a team that is young, and you have young, impressionable minds, we were the youngest team or second youngest team in 21, 22, 23. We got a little bit older. You need guys that all fit together like Lincoln Logs or like a puzzle, right? They have to kind of be of the same cloth. They got to be cut from the same cloth. Carter was going through some stuff. And I think that when you add somebody like that to a room that is still young and you're still trying to develop a team, it's not worth the risk. Not to say he's not a good football player. No one's saying that he couldn't have helped us, because I think he could have. But I think that you had to build it the right way from the bottom up, build that base, that foundation. And then if you really wanted to, now you could probably take a risk, because your team is built to where nothing can penetrate that shield. of resiliency and hard work and that tough grit mentality that they have. You have a bunch of do-gooders on this squad. I mean, look at JMO's turnaround. You know, he had some issues early on. Dude's one of the brightest kids on the team now. Always smiling, always happy, never a bad day. So I think that they made the right move.
And don't you think that from a standpoint of team that we would be much better now drafting someone in that position versus 4 years ago? You know, the maturity of this team is so much better. We have leadership now. We have people that have been in the system for, this is going on the 5th year now. Back when we did Gibbs, so this would have been 3 years ago, if we would have taken Carter, it would have affected the psyche of this team. Drafting someone that had just gotten in a car crash and someone died, and all this stuff that was wrapped around him had nothing to do with the player himself. It might have affected this team and might have sank this team. I don't know if they would have been, you know, had the mental fortitude to make it through a player like that.
That stuff right there. Peter Van Larhoven says we got a troll in the chat. Trace, do you know what to do? Where's this troll?
And Attila just gave us another $2 super chat and says, I agree with you. It was someone else in another chat.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And I appreciate that question too, because it's,
yeah.
You know, you get that, right? From all of these other creators. They have these ideas of what this team should be built like, and the only question that could never really be answered is, well, what if? What if they would have done that? What if they would have doubled down on an edge rusher in 2023? What if we would have taken somebody else other than Ennis Rakestraw, right? I get the what if game. And I also get this. You're playing from hindsight is 2020, right? I'm not. I'm playing foresight with clear vision. The things that we do on this channel is predict with accurate analysis and research, and we get a ton right before it happens. If you think I'm full of it, you can just ask about anybody that really watches this channel. They'll tell you. We put a ton of work and time into this to get the right stuff. We don't just jump on and hit go live and just start talking. Now, we've done that. Don't get me wrong. We've absolutely done that when we didn't have anything prepared. We didn't have internet. We had problems. We had to just go. Probably some of the best shows we've ever done, honestly. But honestly, it's a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of history, watching these games my entire life, knowing the team inside and out, but understanding the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes way. Like, I get it. I see it. I get, you know, laughed at or chastised because people say I just agree with Brad. No, I'm just in lockstep with a lot of the things that he's doing and a lot of the things that he has done. Look, that bill has been paid 10 times over. He's doing the right things. You may not agree with it, but at the end of the day, you're still cheering that team on at 15-2, aren't you? Right? You're cheering that team on through the NFC North Championship. So do me a favor, don't cheer this year if you think that Brad Holmes has made a ton of mistakes. You know, he may not hit on every single draft pick, like Broderick Martin may not hit this year, right? It may not work out. But that would be like the second one in 5 drafts. That's a pretty damn good average. I can tell you I failed more than twice in 5 years. Hell, I probably failed more than twice since 4:30 this morning when I got up. Who's counting, right? Who's counting? All right, let's get into something good. And I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Thursday morning, man. Do me a quick favor, like, share, subscribe. Help push us to 10K. We want to give away a couple of tickets to a Detroit Lions game this year. May or may not be sitting next to me, or I might stick you way up in the nosebleeds. I'm just kidding. But we want to give some tickets away. Alim McNeill, man, update. I'm glad to see that he's on his way back. The training camp connection. We're going to highlight Tim Twentyman here in just a few moments. The Hutch rule. So I did 2 videos last night. One on Alim, one on Hutch. I know you're not shocked at this one, Eric. The Hutch rule.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God. I was laughing so hard when I saw this yesterday. When I did the video, I think you could see all the energy just pouring out of my pores because I was so amped up that Hutch is actually performing this well and looking really good. Now I get it. It's just practice against your own team. And he's been going up against, Skipper in the beginning, Manu, Decker just got back. And he's had pretty good reps of Penei Sewell, but I'll tell you right now, based on the tape that I've seen, he's probably 60-40. Penei's winning 60% right now. But the Hutch rule, they're having to just not blow the play dead to allow the offense to get their work in. How exciting is that? That you're totally just saying, whatever, dude, like just knock it off. Let the offense do their thing. You almost got to pull him out of practice, but that wouldn't be right, Tim, because he needs these reps. He needs that feel-good story to help him, be amplified more than he already is for the season. So you saw me pop out a video last night. You saw it again this morning. What are you thinking, man?
I'm thinking thank you to Attila the Hun for getting Will all fired up this morning.
Yeah.
That's better than coffee.
You're one of us is breaking up big time.
Uh-oh.
Might be me.
Got something going on, maybe. Might be the old headphone cable. Typical gremlins on a Thursday. Mr. Thomas put, I thought Decker retired. No, Decker did not retire. He started out on the physically unable to perform list, and he came back to practice just a few days ago. He had off-season shoulder surgery, a little cleanup on his shoulder.
So I missed that last few seconds here. Do me a quick favor. We're at 43 likes, about 110 people in watching. If you guys pound those likes to 75, we're going to turn ads off for the whole show. But you know what? I promised you yesterday that I was going to kill them for the last hour for sure, because you got to the likes yesterday and I forgot. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dial the ads all the way back. And then at 9 o'clock, I'm just going to turn them off. But let's get those likes up. It helps the algorithm. It helps us get in front of more Lions fans just like you. So I missed what you said. You said something about me getting fired up. I heard that part.
Yeah, and then I said you had little gremlins with your headphones.
Yeah.
And someone asked if Taylor Decker retired, and I said no, he didn't retire. They're like, I thought he retired, and I'm like, no, he just had a little cleanup surgery on his left shoulder, and he is now back in practice.
Yeah, Taylor Decker is not going anywhere. I think he's going to finish out this contract, or depending on how he plays and feels this year, if he has any major injuries, maybe it's next year. I don't know. I hope not. I think that Decker's got plenty of time left in that body. Is he different now? Does Taylor Decker look a little bit different now that he's a dad multiple times over? Do you think that weighs on these guys' minds? They got plenty of money. It's like, why not just hang it up while I'm still healthy, like Ragnow tried to do. Unfortunately, he's got some things that are going to bother him. But no, Ragnow was the one that retired. Decker just needed a little surgery, like Eric said. So the Hutch rule, man. You thanked Attila for getting me all amped up, but what do you think about the Hutch rule and the fact that the offense is getting manhandled by the defense? Quote, defense is a handful right now. And I pulled a couple of quotes out from Calvin Shepard, and he said, yeah, it's a good barometer to try to figure out exactly where you are at. And I think that you take it for what it is. This is what Dan Campbell said of the defense being a little ahead of the offense. He says, I do believe our defense we are playing pretty good right now. We are practicing well. We are running pretty efficient. And Shep's doing a nice job over there. He also said that we're pretty versatile in coverage and pressure. We've got the front to handle the run right now, and then we're pretty sticky in the back end. So that's a good combination. We can crush the pocket. That's versus our offense. I do see that. So we're doing things great from all facets of the defense. Back is sticky, front is creating problems. And I think this is exactly what, both you and I and a lot of people in the chat were hoping to see is that the investment into the interior defensive line, one with Tyleik Williams, but the continued investment by bringing the guys back that had success last year, Miles Adams, Pat O'Connor, Levi Onwuzurike. Unfortunately, he's down for the year. But let's not forget about Pat O'Connor. I mean, he was having an extremely good season last year. And Miles Adams off the couch or off the practice squad comes and gets a sack in his first game. And now we've got Keith Cooper. I mean, he's a handful, just like this quote says, but he's having a really good camp. And so everyone's having an effect on the offense. But Hutch has got this special rule because they can't keep him out of the backfield. And they got to let the play go. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to hear, too.
Yeah, to me, that means that Hutch is 100% back to being Hutch. There is no lingering anything from this surgery. He's going to be just fine.
You know, according to, you know what? I had a video dialed up, but that was in my video last night. If you didn't watch the video last night, I would encourage you to watch it because I pulled in some really good clips and some video clips from Dan, from Calvin, and from Aidan. And it really kind of broke down the situation really well. This means, in my opinion, kind of going along with what you're saying, is that Aidan feels confident. And he has confidence in his leg. Michael Garrity says, $5 super chat. I have full confidence in the offense. Defense winning in camp is a great sign. It's nothing new, right? We had the same problem last year. We had the same problem in 2023. Nobody wanted to play that defense in the playoffs. That defense was humming. They were finally getting it together. And so it's a good thing when your defense is giving your offense some struggle. Why? Well, like Eric says, iron sharpens iron, but this is just going to make the offense get better. If this defense is truly going to be a top 10, top 5, is kind of where I think they're heading defense this year, that means that this offense is going to have to operate at a higher level. And I think they're already doing that. Do we have any injury updates for today?
Yeah, so just a little bit. And this is by Ben Raven from M Live. And he says that the Detroit Lions rookie wide receiver Dominic Lovett had a productive preseason opener and has looked strong to open camp. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you guys the good, I'm going to give you the bad, and I'm going to give you the ugly. And injuries. Is this deja vu for Lions fans? Like, seriously. The 7th round rookie is expected to miss the next week or so of training camp and preseason. Lovett left Monday night's practice early with what the team is calling an abdominal injury. So we don't know if it's ribs or something in his abdomen. Lovett may be 10 days, but they're good, said Lions head coach Dan Campbell on Wednesday morning. I mean, it's just going to take a minute. And this is
sounds like core muscle strain.
Yeah. And this is just adding on to Dan Jackson going down,
right?
Ennis Rakestraw going down, and a bunch of these other players getting dinged up in practice. And we even put Dan Jackson on IR. So we already have players on the IR for this season.
I mean, I think it's expected, right? I mean, other teams do too. I hate to say this, but Dan Jackson is probably not going to make the roster anyway. And he would have had to have gone to the practice squad, which he may have been picked up by somebody. This is the best of a worst situation where he's done, at least right now. Now, I haven't looked. Is it season-ending IR or is it... Do you know if it's season-ending IR?
It will be, yes.
Are you be positive on that?
Yeah, he said he will not play this year.
Okay. So then that means that we have Dan Jackson for next year. And so when we have a room that there's going to be some guys that need to get paid and there's going to be some turnover next year, having him come back is a good thing, right? And he'll be able to stick around with the team and learn as much as he can this year through the meetings. And obviously he won't get any on-field work, but at least he'll be a smarter football player when he comes back next year. He looked good early. There were some nice things being printed about this guy. Very savvy, hard hitter. I expected less out of him, to be honest with you, as I didn't know anything about him.
Yep. Well, I'm going to say something. So Dan Jackson going on our IR, and then Levi O is out for the season. Are you starting to worry about the number of injuries that have occurred so far in training camp? I know Levi O's was not in training camp, but are you starting to see, for you, are you starting to see too many injuries in training camp?
I'm not really that worried about it. Give me one sec here. I got to switch this to the other ear, otherwise it sounds funny to me.
Oh, okay.
I'm not necessarily worried yet. We have some guys that need to come back, Rodrigo and Alim McNeill, that need to get back on this squad, which will happen in due time. So I think that we're set up from the standpoint that we got some guys that are coming back, you know, during the first third or quarter of the season, or after the first third or quarter of the season, I should say. So that's a good, right? You got a defensive tackle and a linebacker coming back. Outside of that, Khalil Dorsey, I don't think that he's back yet. So, and you've got Mekhi Wingo. So you've got another inside-outside defensive tackle that can also play on the edge. So we have three really important guys that are coming back to this squad. Mekhi was looking really good. So the fact that they're already injured and coming back is better than getting injured and having to work yourself back. I'd rather see an old injury having to come back right now than a new injury trying to fight back and stay healthy for the rest of the season. I'm not worried yet. I think that we're just fine. I think that we have a lot of depth. We have to remember that we had 91 guys on this roster, as Ahmed Hassanin doesn't count on the official 90. So we're good. Now, if we get a string of injuries, I mean, Ennis Rakestraw doesn't make me happy. I mean, it's just bad luck. Like Dan Campbell said, it's bad luck. I wanted to see more out of him. Terrion Arnold down right now is a little concerning, but slight hamstring issue, nothing too serious. He should be back, you know, sooner rather than later too. And it's not like these guys are really going to get a ton of work in preseason. It's those dual camps, you know, the joint practices that I think help these guys the most. And they're not going to be able to take advantage of that, at least the first one. So that's the only thing that I'm concerned about. But outside of that, man, we still have a month to go before week 1. I think we're in great shape.
Well, then you add in Broderick Martin has a mystery ailment, and then something happened to Sione Vaki. He didn't practice on Monday.
He's back.
He didn't practice in the last practice.
No, he's back.
After he had told everyone he was going to start in the second preseason game.
Well, hold on here. It says that second-year running back Sione Vaki was spotted at Wednesday's practice. He told MLive he was ready to go for the upcoming preseason action, so his availability is worth monitoring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I thought that he was back and he was going to play.
Okay. I read something that was it.
Yeah, and then the defensive tackle, Broderick Martin, has an undisclosed issue, was not at practice again. Look, I think that Broderick Martin could be done. And you know what I don't want to hear, which I'm sure it's already being said, is that Brad failed because why? Why would Brad fail by giving up what picks? Have we identified what those picks were worth? If you needed a defensive tackle in that draft, which we did, we needed depth. There was nobody else available in that draft. You could have taken a different position, but we didn't necessarily need another position at that time, and there may not have been another position that Brad had higher on his board. What I will say is I think Brad missed on the player, because the player that I wanted was Kobe Turner. And look what he's turned out to be.
Ornery U of M Dad has a nice little comment here. He says, undisclosed issue for Broderick Martin is that he's being cut.
Could be. He could be. Kobe Turner was drafted in the 3rd round at pick 26 of that year. Hold on here. I've just got stuff playing in the background. He was 6'2", 288. So he's a little bit undersized. But he's been an absolute monster for the Rams. had a hell of a season last year. The Lions could have moved up to grab him. Maybe they thought that he wasn't going to get picked that early. And I think that that's why they panicked a little bit and reached out there to get Broderick Martin, because he was the last real big man on the board. So if they could have gotten Kobe, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. But then again, I think that we have to look at how this defense is set up. We run with a nose tackle. How big is the nose tackle? 330, right? How big is DJ Reader? How big is Tyleek Williams? Now, Tyleek, I mean, he's the dancing bear. So the dude he's so nimble. He can play anywhere up and down the line, as we've heard and as we've seen in practice. But we needed another nose tackle at some point, and especially when DJ Reader is gone at some point, you needed a guy to fill in. We don't have that right now. Outside of Tyleek Williams and Roy Lopez, Broderick Martin was supposed to be that guy. I don't think it's a miss. I mean, you can't blame Brad Holmes for injuries. You can't do that. I mean, that would just be foolish. So if he doesn't work out, he doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean that he may not work out with somebody else. We'll see what happens. I'm not sold that he's done just yet.
Yeah. So
that's your injury update. Let's get into your main topic. It's 8:41.
Okay.
Let's get into your main topic, because then I've got some video stuff that I want to do. But let's get into your main topic, man. But we're going to do that right after this quick ad from Pro Sports, man. Get into the zone with Pro Sports Zone. If you guys have not received or gotten all of your Lions gear just yet, no worries. Pro Sports Zone has it all. They have all of your favorite teams: Lions, Tigers, no Bears. Wall-to-wall sports merchandise, only the best prices, only the latest, hottest, newest designs. And if you haven't met John Yu yet, then you don't know what customer service is all about, because he definitely has the best customer service in the game. Get out there, man. 37700 6 Mile Road at Laurel Park Place Mall in Livonia. 10 to 8 on Monday through Saturday, and 11 to 6 on Sundays. Pro Sports Zone, man. Get in the zone. Get all of your Lions gear today. All right, so main topic of the day for you. It's an interesting one. Why don't you walk us through it?
So I have a little bit of news. The Rams signed running back Kyren.
Oh, sorry, Eric. Hold on. You got to start again.
Okay.
I accidentally pressed the button. Hold on. 3, 2, 1. There you go.
The Rams, they signed running back Kyren Williams to a 3-year contract extension. Will this impact the future Gibbs contract? And what do I mean by that? So the Rams on Tuesday signed running back Kyren Williams to a 3-year contract extension, keeping him under contract through 2028. And this was widely reported all over the place by Adam Schefter and everyone else. Williams, 24, is coming off his second straight season with at least 1,100 rushing yards and double-digit rushing touchdowns. He posted 316 career carries. He posted 316 carries, 1,299 yards, and 14 rushing touchdowns in 2024, all career highs. And his 14 rushing touchdowns last season made him the 6th Ram running back to reach that mark in a season. Now, this contract was for 3 years, $33 million, and it's an extension, which now makes him the 7th highest average per year paid running back in the NFL. And ahead of the first week of 2025 in the preseason, the Los Angeles Rams signed him to a 3-year, $33 million extension, making him number 7. Williams was a 5th round pick from the 2022 NFL draft, and he's become a massive part of the Rams offense, rushing for over 1,100 yards in the last 2 seasons. Williams has scored 31 total touchdowns in the last 2 years. He has earned the trust of head coach Sean McVay And if the Rams want to live up to their full potential, they'll need their star running back to stay healthy and continue to perform at the same level. So this got me to looking at who are the top 10 highest paid running backs in the league. And it may surprise a lot of people that David Montgomery comes in at number 10. So David Montgomery comes in at $9.125 million. Kyrie Williams, just like we said, he is at number 7. And then all the way up at number 1, you have, of course, Saquon Barkley at $20.6 million. So it got me to thinking, what is the ceiling and what is the floor for a contract for Jahmyr Gibbs starting maybe next year, possibly next year? And I wanted to do a little comparison between Kyrie Williams, the 7th highest paid, and between Jahmyr Gibbs, who is not the 7th highest paid. And I have a nice little graphic somewhere, if I can find it. There we go. That shows a comparison between the two of them.
Is this the one that you wanted with Fantasy Pros?
Yeah. Just to show everybody how dominant in a shared backfield that Jahmyr Gibbs has been compared to someone who has the backfield basically all to himself.
All right, let me see if this screen will do it for us here. So
okay.
All right, so we've got Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, that worked out. Jahmyr Gibbs and Kyren Williams. You should be able to see that. I know it's a little bit smaller than normal.
So on the left, you have Jahmyr Gibbs. On the right, you have Kyren Williams. And if you go down, so this was talking about fantasy points, so I'm not so much worried about that. But if you look in every category, starting with rushing attempts is the only part of rushing that Kyren Williams has more than Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's not a bad thing, though.
No.
When you look at fewer rushing attempts, 66 fewer rushing attempts, but 113 more yards. I mean, that tells you how much more efficient Jahmyr Gibbs is.
Yes, and when you look at their yards per attempt, 5.6 for Jahmyr Gibbs, 4.1 for Kyren. So that's a yard and a half more per attempt. Jahmyr Gibbs' long was 70, Kyren's was 30, less than half. Okay. 20 plus yards, runs of 20 plus yards, 21 for Jahmyr Gibbs, only 3 for Kyren Williams. Touchdowns, 16 by Gibbs and 14 for Kyren Williams. So this got me thinking also, look at their stats for receiving. Every single stat, Jahmyr Gibbs crushes them. And then Jahmyr Gibbs played one more game. Had way more fantasy points, more points per game, and points per 100 snaps. The only categories where Kyren was better was snaps and snaps per game. So that just means he was on the field a lot more and had a lot less production, in my opinion. So this made me think.
Well, he's not really in a shared back system either.
No. And this made me think, so is Kyren Williams' contract at number 7, is that now the new floor for Jahmyr Gibbs' contract?
Okay, so what is his APY?
11.
So 11 mil a year?
Yep.
And Saquon Barkley is what, 20?
Yeah, 20.6.
Okay, so what is your main question here?
Well, after seeing the differences in production for both in yardage and touchdowns between Kyren and Gibbs, how big of a second contract should Gibbs be looking to secure next season?
One, I don't know that he's necessarily going to get it next season. Now, I don't think you're in this screen, but I think you are in audio-wise on the next screen I'm about to pull up. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when you look at this, Saquon Barkley obviously got a big deal last year, $20.6 million. average per year with 36 million guaranteed. That was a 2-year deal, right? So he got what 90 some odd % guaranteed in that deal, which is insane. He's essentially making 18 million a year all in. Christian McCaffrey, that deal was signed. Gosh, it had to be 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was the tippy tops of the running back. And I would say that both of those contracts, I think, are a little bit elusive, meaning they may not be what NFL teams are trying to pay their top running backs. Those might be one-offs. Could be. But I doubt that the Gibbs agent is going to say, yeah, we're not going to take, we're only going to take, 20.6 or more. I doubt that they would want to take less, especially if Jahmyr Gibbs can continue on the trend and if he can sell, his player to any other team and say, look what he's doing in a shared back system. Is there anyone on this list? I can't really think of anyone on this list that is in a shared back system. Saquon's not. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he did have a partner in crime. Was that Dwan Jennings or Brian Robinson? Who was it? I don't remember. I don't remember now.
I don't know.
Derrick Henry, obviously, he's, a lone soldier back there. Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara. It's not to say that they don't have a number 2, but the primary lead horse here is who you're seeing on the screen right now. Yep. Outside of David Montgomery, who's at number 10, and he's making an average of 9.125 a year. Now, Kyron Williams' deal has not loaded up into this screen yet. It probably will later on today or tomorrow at some point. This is over the cap. This isn't Spotrac, and I'm not signed in, so it may have updated on the other one. But here's where I'm going with this. Now you see the numbers, okay?
Yeah.
Who on this list is Jahmyr Gibbs better than, just from the perspective of a shared backfield versus a lead horse? He's better than every single guy listed other than stat-wise Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
Exactly.
Is there anyone else on this list that had better stats than Jahmyr Gibbs last year? Other than those two guys?
No.
I don't think that there is. So if stats are the full thing, like if that's the only thing you're looking at, it's going to be hard not to pay Jahmyr Gibbs big money.
Yeah. And the one thing that Lions fans are always thinking is, what if? So what if Gibbs was all by himself solo in a backfield? Imagine the production that kid could have if he had a Saquon Barkley type share or a Derrick Henry share of the running back duties. Imagine what he could do. Could he do as good or better than one of those two?
Okay, so I was a little bit off. There were 2 players that were above Jahmyr Gibbs in overall. Let me get this thrown up.
Okay.
That should be it right there. There you go. I know it's a little bit smaller on the screen than I really want it to be, but so Saquon Barkley led the league with 2,005. Derrick Henry 1921. Bijan Robinson at number 3. There we go. That's bigger. At 1456. Jonathan Taylor at 1431. And then Jahmyr Gibbs at 1412. Now, I remember when I went through all of this last year and I said, okay, if Jahmyr Gibbs would have just ran for his average last season and he had the same touches as Saquon Barkley, I'll do it live. So we're going to go 345 minus 250. That's an additional 95 carries at a 5.6 yard clip. That's in another 532 yards. We add that to 1412. That's 1944. So he would have been the second running back last season if he just had his average, which I think he probably would have blown over 2,000 yards without a doubt if he had 345 carries last year. But that kind of gives you an idea of what he is as the number 1, right? If you break down what everyone else is doing and you give him the same amount of snaps, I mean, look at Jonathan Taylor, had 53 more. He only had, 19 more yards? Bijan Robinson had 54 more snaps, and he only had, 44 more yards? So what Jahmyr Gibbs is doing in a two-back system is insane.
It's unheard of.
It's baffling to me. And what I love about it is he's entering his third season as fresh as he probably was as a rookie. Like his legs are fresh. His time in the league is going to be extended by an additional half a season every year that he's sharing a backfield. So he's played, 2 years now?
Yep.
He's really only played one. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
So I think that it's a hard sell, or an easy sell, I should say, from if I was his agent, I would say, look, man, you're saving this guy's legs. He's going to last longer in the league. You give him the same snaps as Saquon Barkley, he's going to be step for step with him, if not better. We haven't even gotten into the passing game yet with him. But that's the other part of this. Let me look at some of these stats here to the right. Passing wise, well, Saquon Barkley had 13 TDs. Jahmyr Gibbs had 16. He was tied with Derrick Henry for the lead. Overall, he had 20 TDs.
Led the league.
Where's the passing stats here? I want passing stats for running backs. And I don't have it open for some reason.
Difficult to get that to line up.
Well, I'm in ESPN. It doesn't break down as well as, and I don't use this one as often, but if I were to go down to, which I'm not gonna be able to do it quickly, it should just be right with their rushing stats. You should say it in there, but it doesn't.
Nope.
So the question is, how many passing yards did Saquon Barkley have?
He had quite a few.
Well, quite a few is a good number, right? Let's get the number. It is. Wow, it's not on this one either. Receiving, here we go. 278. 43 targets, 33 catches, 278 on the season. I'm pretty sure Jahmyr Gibbs had more than that.
Yep.
All right, Jahmyr Gibbs last season. 517.
Yep.
So he doubled him up. Now, if he had, and that was on 63 targets, 52 catches. I mean, so this guy's catching, what is that, 83%? What's 52 divided by 63? 82.5%. The math is mathing.
Yep.
That's pretty solid, man. 517 yards, and to think that he's probably gonna have more this year. I can't imagine that he's gonna get targeted a lot more, but he could. Or it could just be the style of routes that he's running that could lead to more yards and more touchdowns. But he added another 4 TDs, through the air. Look, this guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion, it's 1A, 1B right now in this league. I get Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry is just a big bowling ball running downhill at you. I don't see anything super, I hate to even say this. It's not like super special to me like a Saquon Barkley is or a Jahmyr Gibbs in the way that they run, right? The juice that they have, the moves that they can do. Henry just runs straight downhill and just runs you over. I don't see a ton of moves out of the guy as much as you would see with the other guys. So I know we were talking about contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man, he's gonna break the bank.
He is.
Back up the Brinks truck, man, because what I'm seeing here is, Kyren Williams, and again, I think that you started with Kyren Williams because it's a new deal. There's no comparison, in my opinion, between Kyren Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs at all. But if he's getting $11 million a year, and Jahmyr is way better than him, then yeah. Of course, he deserves Saquon Barkley money or more. The Lions don't want to hear that this morning, but you know damn well his agent is going to be able to sell it pretty easily when you just start breaking down some of the stats and say, okay, go put him behind the Eagles' offensive line. What is he going to do? And I'm probably seeing 2,500 yards, like smashing records if you just let the dude loose. And he's pretty durable, man. He's taking some big shots, and he gets right up, and he also avoids a lot of big shots, which I think is the most unique talent from a running back. Like, durability is great. I don't want you to get hit. So how elusive can you be in avoiding the big contact? And Jahmyr Gibbs does a great job at that. You know who else did? And why he played so long with 10 years with 1,000 or more yards? Barry Sanders. He was so elusive that guys couldn't get a good hit on him. He took a couple good licks in 10 seasons. And that was about it. So that's why he was able to play as long as he did.
Yeah, and the biggest knock, if you ask Giants fans on Saquon Barkley, was he could not stay healthy when he was with the Giants. When he was healthy, he had great seasons, and they wanted to keep him around. And the decision that GM had to make when it was either let's pay him the most or we're just going to release him, he chose to release him because he was coming off an ACL, and he was coming off all these seasons where he just kept getting hurt. He couldn't trust him to stay healthy. Well, last year, behind that offensive line for the Eagles, he did stay healthy.
Yeah,
something.
It's funny what happens when you have a good offensive line.
Yeah, and Gibbs has done it from the beginning. I mean, he has stayed healthy the whole time, knock on wood.
I mean, he's had a couple minor things, but minor, very minor. There was someone in the chat that wanted to know what the update was on McNeel. Patrick Mazie. It's not a you know, how do I put it? It's not a lock for an update. It's just that Alim McNeill has stated that he's really done with rehab, and he's now in the training phase, which would tell us that he's more ahead of schedule than anticipated. It was end of October, early November return, and now being speculated early October to mid-October latest return, which would have him around week 6, week 7, if my math is right, my dates are right. But then again, the Lions do have a bye week. I think it's week 8 this year. And if we know Brad and Dan, and if we're winning football games, they're probably going to hold him back. But this is good news that when he does hit the field, that he's a little bit ahead of schedule right now. The thing that sucks is he's not going to go through camp, and he's going to need to get some contact before he goes into a game. And I wonder what they do. That would be that's a great question, man. If you're in the frickin' room, like, what are these guys doing when they're rehabbing? You know, how are they getting contact drills? What, are they lining up against somebody at home? Like, what are they doing? Because I would love to see how they're getting contact drills to get their body toughened up before they just come back and start playing, you know?
Yeah. All right. So my last question on this topic of the Kyren Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs, could the fact that Gibbs will most likely demand a deserved record-setting running back contract, does that mean that David Montgomery is a tradable asset either this year or next year? David is the 10th highest paid running back in the NFL this season and is signed through 2027 while only being 28 years old entering this season. So he's signed through 2026. So he signed for 25 and 26. And
no, he's signed through 27 as well.
Yeah, 26 and 27. Oh, through 27. So
we've got him 27. He has a void year in 28.
Yeah, so a void year in 28. So we have him for 3 more years.
This year plus 2 more.
Yes. So does this make him a trade chip? If Gibbs is doing good enough?
It could. If you guys follow me on X at all, you'll see the guy that could be on Brad's radar for next year. I'm not saying that we want to go without David Montgomery, because I do think that he's part of that lifeblood of this team. I think he's very important to this team. I personally believe in David Montgomery a whole hell of a lot, man. I think he's very important from many perspectives, but his attitude, the way that he sees life, the way that he goes about his business, he is just a direct. Oh, wow. Hold on. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. You find something?
Ennis Rakestraw.
Uh-oh. Is he going on injured reserve?
It appears that way. Hold on here.
Uh-oh. I'll look and see what I can find.
Hold on. Small pause. Be right back here in just a few seconds. We didn't do our heart out at 9 anyway. Be right back.
Yep.
And I'll fix this. We will have a break. We will have an actual break, some sort of a video by next week. I'll make it happen. Actually got some cool things lined up. I just wanted to bring this in. All right, here we go. Okay, so this just posted by Mike Payne right when we got started this morning, about an hour ago, where this is Ennis Rakestraw in a hospital. So I'm not sure if he's having shoulder surgery today or what's going on, but that would appear to be the case.
Yeah. Corey Woods put, it appears that Lions cornerback Ennis Rakestraw is heading to surgery. Here is a screen grab from his Instagram account. Several days ago, Terrion Arnold posted words of encouragement for Rakestraw on his Instagram.
Yeah, so there you go. There's both of them, Corey Woods and Mike Payton. So it looks like Ennis Rakestraw is going to be down for quite a while. I mean, any surgery is going to have it's time off.
Yep.
You got a few weeks of just inflammation.
Yeah. Shoulder surgery, I'm going to tell you right now. I had mine back in October of last year. I am still not healed. It is still not right.
Well, we don't know exactly what it is. So if it's collarbone, if it's AC joint, if it's a labrum tear, we don't know.
See, mine was a labrum tear.
Yeah, yours was rotator cuff, right?
No, labrum.
Oh, so labrum's a lot easier than the rotator cuff. The rotator cuff is 6 months minimum.
Yeah.
The labrum tears are about 6 weeks. And the collarbones are, if they're gonna break and mend the bone, yeah, you're out 12 weeks. You know, my collarbone, we never fixed it, so I got this giant lump. That's why if you see me, like, one shoulder's higher than the other. My collarbone has never been fixed. I wrecked my motorcycle doing about 65 miles an hour on the highway. I was on Halloween. That was 2005 on Halloween. And yeah, broke my shoulder. At least I had some road rash too. That was the worst of it. I got pretty lucky. Yeah, I stopped riding probably a month after that. So anyway, I guess to wrap this up, your latest question in here, does this mean that David Montgomery is going to be a tradable asset or trade bait? I don't think this year. We need him for this year. So I would say going into next season, if the Lions are looking at maintaining a two back system, which they are, I can't imagine that they're going to change that. Then, yeah, 1,000%. But let me show you guys something that I put on mine. Oops. On my Twitter here. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can the Lions afford to have 2 top 10 paid running backs, 2 top 10 paid wide receivers, a top paid defensive end, a top paid
safety,
tight end, near the top 10 top paid quarterback? I mean, how many can we pay?
Well, I mean, don't forget Kirby.
Yeah, you got Kirby. He's the top paid safety,
Yeah, this is the problem that we're up against when you have really good football players. And that's why I get sick of hearing all this trash talk about Brad Holmes. You know, the people that trash Brad Holmes, I'm sorry, they're just hacks, because it's very simple to me. You don't have this problem if you're not really good at your job, right? You don't have a problem that you can't pay people because you have too many good guys. Like, that's a problem all 32 teams want to have, wish they could have. The Bears would love to have that problem. They got bigger problems, and we'll get to some of that in a little bit. But take a look at this guy. Take a look at this guy. This guy's on my radar. Here, let me get to a different screen. That's a little better. Check this guy out. His feet, they just move different. He's like floating. Watch this. How's it stuck? Oh my. Ooh, doggy. That's enough to get Tashard Choice's blood just pumping, man. Look at those feet. Look at that. I'm going to talk about being different. This dude is 6 foot 205 or 215. He's like your Derrick Henry with speed, like immense speed. I've got to watch this guy somehow. I don't even remember where he's at. It doesn't look like Notre Dame. It almost looked like FSU. I can't tell. Or it might even have been a smaller school. But his name is, if you want to look him up, is Jeremiah Love, no relation to Jordan. No relation to Jordan. Jeremiah Love.
Joe Schmo put, that's my guy Love.
Yeah, that dude is, he's special. And I believe he's entering his junior year. So he'll definitely be.
Oh, so that is Notre Dame.
He'll be in the draft. Is it Notre Dame?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. So when you look at guys like that are going to be coming into the draft, and depending on where you can pick them up, yeah, I would hate to walk away from David Montgomery, but at $10 million a year, which is what he's going to be making next year, and then having to pay Gibbs probably 20, but at the same time, that won't stack on top of each other. It'll be, layered, if you will, the next season. It all depends on how these contracts hit, and that's the roster roulette that you have to play. Is you bring in a guy like Aidan Hutchinson, you're going to end up having to pay him. So you have to make sure you bring in another guy that can play the other side for little to no money. Dave Davenport, Keith Cooper, Levi Onwuzurike was another one. Josh Paschal, which we said yet to talk about Josh Paschal, right? We haven't even said anything about him in 2 weeks.
He started doing some stuff, didn't he?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. He's been out.
Heard he was working on the hill with a trainer at the last day of camp, is what I heard.
I didn't see that. So we have some good guys in the room. Here's another good guy. So are we good on that topic now? I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. I just wanted to bring up the possibility of, could David possibly be a trade chip, this year, next year, the following year? And it's something to think about as Lions fans. We haven't seen Brad really make any big trades since the Goff trade, and it may happen again someday with a player that we all love.
It happens, man. Like the Jamal Williams thing comes to mind. A lot of fans are pissed off about it. And I'm not saying that David is going to have the same, the same trajectory that Jamal did as far as going to another team and it not working out. I think that wherever David lands, if it's somewhere other than Detroit, he's going to work out just fine. I just see some really good running backs, obviously evidenced by the video that I just shared, coming up through the ranks. And there may be a couple of options for the Lions. I really liked Kai Robichaud. Unfortunately, waived injured. But there's options, right? If you're looking for if Jahmyr Gibbs is giving you 1,505 every year, like that's enough. Like what he does by himself in a shared back system is enough. You don't really need another number two. The Lions are just blessed with big problems of having two really good, football players that both could be starters. And neither one of them is bitching and whining and crying about, getting their share of the football. Why? Because their bodies are staying healthier, and they're still able to produce at a high level. David would have had at least 1,000 yards last year had he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
So, all right, this next guy, man, he jumped on the radar last year when the Lions drafted him. He was sick throughout the entire training camp. And there's something that we talk about a lot on this channel, and it's, do you have it from the shoulder up, right? And what is the mental game, for you as a football player? Can you do it at the next level? And this gentleman by the name of Christian, great name, by the way, best name in the world, next to mine. Just kidding. It's my son's name. But Christian Mahogany he's really, I would say, well beyond his years. So Mahogany may be the most talented guy on the roster, but it's the mental game that is by far the best that I've witnessed in a player's career at this stage. He is wise beyond his years. I think that this is a clear reason why Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes wanted this guy, and we're lucky to pick him up where they did, because he slid in the draft. He was projected as a top 2-round draft pick, and I think he slid into the 5th. Is that where the Lions picked him up? I think it was the fifth round last season. Come to find out, he's got one leg longer than the other. That kind of shied teams away. Hasn't stopped him one bit. So let's take a listen to Christian Mahogany.
It was the 6th round.
Was it a 6th round? Even better. Even better. All right, here we go. Christian Mahogany.
Sets the plan, just your confidence level now a couple weeks into camp and regular season looming.
I wouldn't say my confidence has changed. I try to be the same every day. It doesn't matter, good play, bad play. It's the next play that matters. So the confidence doesn't change. You never could be too high, you never could be too low. So just stay steady.
Hey, Christian, how much do you enjoy the run blocking part of playing offensive line? That seems to be a part of the game that especially suits the physical nature of the way you play.
Oh, I've loved run blocking since college. Ever since I started playing offensive line in high school, that's when I kind of learned, watching tape on the guys that I learned from a young age. That's how they block. So I'm just trying to emulate a lot of that.
Who were those guys for you?
So, I didn't really play O-line to my junior year of high school, so I went on Madden, highest rated guy, looked at the overall, just watch, like YouTube highlights. You don't get to see the all 22 real technique. So Trent Williams was big, Larry Allen. My dad was a Cowboys fan, so, Coach Campbell was probably on the team with my dad, So just getting some extra bonus crumbs there. But yeah, he was. So Larry Allen was a big guy for me. That's why I wear my number. A lot of people probably know that. So I just watch those guys try to, get the aggressiveness, see how they blocked, and then it's about your technique. D-line. I played nose, 3 tech, and whatever was asked. Safety. He's been here a while. So, me as a younger guy coming into it, we have a good group, older guys, Panay Sewell, Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, guys that have been around, changes here for sure. So they emulate it, and Hank just, he keeps us all in check for sure.
Defense has probably gotten better, the offense, the last couple of days, at least in some of those situational periods. How confident are you that this is just a little blip? You just got a couple things to figure out?
It's just things you got to fix, little things on tape. The tape doesn't lie. So we'll see what happens, and we'll improve on that.
This is a battle every day, offense against defense. But with this roster being as excellent as it is, there aren't a ton of spots maybe up for grabs, but yours is a position that's being closely watched. What's it like to compete for a spot and kind of prove to this coaching staff that's really looking at you guys so closely on that line?
Yeah, it's amazing. Competition's a blessing. It makes you non-complacent. Because, if you just, I'm not saying this about anybody, but if you're just expected to be in that role, you might take, maybe a play or two off. I'm trying my best to kick that out of my game, finish, do what the coaches want. So competition fuels me.
There's a lot of guys on this roster that are in a spot where it's almost kind of guaranteed. But do you feel that lack of complacency, that hunger so strong with this group?
Of course, I feel like even with that being said, that there's still hunger across the O-line. The highest paid guy to, rookie minimum. Everyone's hungry on this team.
In what ways has the interior D-line challenged you with Tyreek and DJ?
Oh, they're good. They're good players. They have good scheme. DJ's a veteran guy. I've been blocking him for about a year now. Tyreek's a newer guy. You got to figure everyone out, see what they like to do, how they like to rush, how they play the run. And then you just keep going. That's really it.
We get a lot of play in this video. I know you guys came in the same draft class, but do you kind of take on maybe a leadership role given?
I wouldn't say that at all. It's not like that. I don't want it to make it seem like that. It's just we're all peers here. I'm trying to coach up my buddy. I'm not above him in any way. That's not how. If it made it seem like that, we're peers. We're in the same draft class. He's like a brother to me. I want to take care of him, make sure he's doing everything right, and that we can succeed.
Hey, Christian, Keith Cooper seems to be an undrafted rookie. He's making a little name for himself so far in camp. You've seen him a little bit.
Yeah.
Just what does he present to an offensive lineman that makes it challenging?
He's a longer guy as a 3 tech, and he's not as heavy, I would say, so he's probably a little shiftier than some of our 3 techs. So it's something that if you don't know too much or you're not watching enough film, it could hurt our O-line for sure.
All right, a lot of good nuggets in there, man. A lot of good stuff. So, Eric, I don't know if you wrote any notes, but what is the one thing that you would have taken away from what he just mentioned? I've got about 20 things here, but go ahead. What is one thing that you have?
Well, I saw it in the chat even. He called Panay Sewell one of the older guys. He's 8 days older than Mahogany.
I think what he means there is obviously the experience factor.
Yeah. Somebody that's been in the longer. Yeah.
The experience factor. Mahogany's a little bit older. Panay was really young coming out of college.
The most surprising thing I heard him say on there, that in high school or college, he was talking about different positions he played, and he said safety.
Yeah, I started cracking up. And I crack up every time I listen to it because I'm looking at this giant, massive man and thinking that he's playing safety. Now, there was more to this video where I think he said a little bit more about that topic. I don't remember exactly what he said, though. But there's usually a few different versions, like whatever, reporter or journalist is recording, and then you've got the Lions version. The Lions version is usually trimmed. Other journalist versions maybe not as trimmed, and you catch a little bit more. But let me run down what I caught. We talk about culture and identity a lot in Detroit because, well, there's a lot of culture in Detroit, and there's a whole hell of a lot of identity in Detroit as a city. The people that live in that city and the people that represent the team of the Detroit Lions. There's a reason why Dan Campbell was a perfect pick, and Brad Holmes also be in the perfect spot to land in Detroit because he understands what it's all about. Culture and identity is huge. And then trusting in the process is even more important than I would say both of those things, because you can't build culture and build a good identity without following your own process. Christian Mahogany is really blown me away. Last year he misses the entire summer, right? This is his first summer. And then he's out for like the first 6-7 weeks of the season. And then he finally gets an opportunity in 2 games, comes in, plays really well at left guard. One of the higher rated guys, I think in 1 game. But the other game he wasn't as highly rated, but he still played really well. That was great to see. So this year, there was a lot of conversation that Christian Mahogany was going to be an immediate starter because he was able to start last year, but that wasn't the case. Dan said it immediately. There's going to be competition everywhere. And it doesn't matter who started last season. He said that, Christian only got like 50 snaps in. That's not enough to rest your hat on. We have to see more, from this guy. But why, from my perspective, do I feel a lot easier about Christian Mahogany potentially being a starter for the Detroit Lions is because of what he just said. You hear this a lot and it's coach speak, but when it comes from a player, that means that they understand it. Never going to be too high or too low. When I have a great rep, right, I'm never going to be too high. I'm just going to act like I've done it before, and I'm going to go in and try to replicate it. If I have a bad rep, well, I've had those before too. And I'm not going to get down. I'm not going to pull a Caleb Williams and start throwing a baby toddler temper tantrum all over the field. Nope. I'm just going to put my head down, my chest forward. I'm going to go at it again. he mentions a couple of guys that were high on his list back in high school because he didn't have the tape or the all 22, film breakdown and that until they got into school. But Trent Williams and Larry Allen, I mean, two really good football players that he tried to model his game after. And then now, like you had mentioned, he's looking up to some of the older guys on the team, or the Panay Sewells and the Taylor Deckers and the Graham Glasgows, and listening to what they have to say. And then he also mentioned that he played 3-tech in nose on the defensive side of the football. So if you've played on the defensive side of the football, that helps you understand, well, what you need to do on the offensive side to stop that 3-tech or that nose. That's huge, right? That's big time for these young cats, especially if you've had the versatility of playing both sides of the football. He was asked a question about the defense being ahead of the offense at this time, and he really just said, I think the most perfect thing he could say. We've got some things we got to fix. There's some little things in there. We just need to focus on the tape. It's critical, right? He keeps on saying how critical the tape is, and watching the film and correcting those things. Tape don't lie, I think is what he said. Left guard competition. He says competition is a blessing. I don't know that I've ever heard somebody say that before, but to him, it's a blessing. I mean, does that not just scream at you that this dude, I mean, he wants it all, and he's going to fight for it, and he wants the competition. He's not going to shy away or back down. That's the kind of offensive alignment that I want. When you're up against, the bigger defensive tackles or the better defensive tackles in the game, or you have a Myles Garrett that swings on the inside, he's not going to shy away. He's going to go at him. He's not afraid. He also says that it makes you non-complacent, even when guys are expected to be, in the position, like they're already penciled into that position, like Panay Sewell or Taylor Decker, that sometimes guys get complacent. They may take a play or two off. He never takes a play off. Even if he's supposed to be the left guard, he's not going to take a play off. I mean, this is levels upon levels of where Christian Mahogany is. He also mentioned about the entire team, but most importantly, the offensive line, that everyone is hungry. Even the guys that are planted in their positions, they're showing how hungry they are and how hard that they're working. This next part, one of the last parts of the video, kind of threw me off a little bit, but I get where he's trying to be humble here. He was asked, I didn't hear the player that he was coaching up, but it was, the question was, do you see yourself in a leadership role now because of the individual that, you were coaching up in practice? I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was offense or defensive side of the football, to be honest with you. And he said, no, I don't see myself in that type of a role. He sees everybody, all of his teammates, that they're peers. I'm not better than any one of you, right? Is what he's saying here. This is my buddy. I want to make sure, he's my brother. I want to make sure that he is the best that he possibly can be. If he beats me, he beats me, right? But who would I be as a player? Now I'm speaking on behalf of Mahogany. Who would I be as a player if I didn't try to coach these guys up? If they did happen to be better than me, well, that's great for the team. It's not great for me, but at the same time, I'm part of this team, and this team could win. So it is good for me in the end. That's huge, man, that this guy wants to be a leader in his own right, even though he doesn't want the accolade. He doesn't want the namesake, if you will, of being a leader. He's still a leader. And he's young, he's a young leader. He does not want to come across like he's above anyone else. They're all equals. They may not be equals as far as pay. They may not be equals as far as, how many years they have in the league. But this team, the reason why it is so successful, it breeds, I'm going to go back to what I started with, the culture, the identity. This is a unit. It's a complete team. Everyone is fighting for each other. He's not the only one that said this. There was someone else that said it the other day too, and I forget who it was, that they want to see each other do well. Naturally, they want their brothers on this squad to be the best they possibly can be, because that's good for the team. I'll have to go back and watch some videos later to figure out who said that. I forget. If you remember in the chat, let me know. But it's the same thing that the Mahogany is saying here too. That's why this team is going to play so well. So now that I've said all that, what are your final thoughts here on Christian Mahogany?
He's the right type of player for the right type of team. Perfect fit. Who cares if one leg is shorter than the other? I don't care. I just care what he does on the field and what he's got from the shoulders up. How he is with all of the other players. I don't care if one leg is shorter than the other. I don't think that's going to matter in the NFL. And I think he is out to prove a lot of people wrong, especially since he was a 6th round pick.
You know, I said this last year when we brought him in, and I said, you know what? If that leg, if it's his plant leg that is longer than the other one by an inch, that actually would help him. If his plant leg was a little bit longer. So that way when he anchors and drops back, he can actually lean forward, you know, by an inch, and whatever that does for your body position. I think it's more helpful than hurtful, honestly. I'll say this about things being, you know, bigger than the other. Hey, my shoulder's taller than the other one, so I must be smarter on this side of my brain than that side of my brain, because this shoulder is, you know, you get what I'm saying, right? From the shoulder up. Well, this shoulder's higher, so this side must be smarter than this side, I guess is what I'm saying. Or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works. All right. We've gotten through a lot this morning. We've got about 30 minutes left, and there's a few more things. What else did you want to highlight today with the NFC North report, which I don't think we got through any of it yet, right?
No, none of it. We can go kind of quick. So the Vikings is a really fast one. We have a little injury update on Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson is dealing with a hamstring, and this is something that he has dealt with for multiple seasons. And once again, he's pulled his hamstring in training camp. And with Jordan Addison suspended for the first 3 games of 2025, the Vikings desperately need star wideout Justin Jefferson to be ready to go for their Week 1 matchup against the Chicago Bears on Monday night, September 8th. Beyond Jefferson and Addison, the Vikings depth chart at receiver leaves much to be desired, with Rondell Moore and Jalen Naylor leading a hodgepodge group of rookies and journeymen, which isn't exactly an ideal scenario for second-year quarterback JJ McCarthy to walk into while making his first career start. Jefferson has missed the bulk of training camp so far while battling a mild left hamstring strain suffered back in late July. He didn't practice on Wednesday, but has been spotted with multiple reporters working with Vikings trainers on a side field, indicating that he could be close to a return. So kind of like the same situation that Terrion Arnold is in. Same thing kind of with Justin Jefferson right now. He's working with trainers on the side, going to come back pretty soon. And they don't have much behind him.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you already talk about the Bears?
Nope, we're going to get to the Bears right now.
So you did the Vikings and the Packers, right?
Nope, didn't do the Packers.
Okay. I'm trying to listen and do the Packers next, because I was trying to listen to something on the back end here.
All right. We will start.
You can't hear it, right? You guys can't hear what I'm listening to?
I can't, no.
Okay.
And we got up to 75 likes. Thank you, everyone.
All right, let me get the ads fully turned off. I totally forgot again. Hold on.
So my favorite team in the world, the Green Bay Packers. Sterling Sharp entered the Hall of Fame last week as a Packer after playing 7 seasons, all for the Packers. Then he turns an about face this week and says their organization sucks. What does he mean? Well, Hall of Famer Sterling Sharp alleges that after a career-ending surgery that risked his life, the Green Bay Packers organization showed him a stunning lack of humanity by never once calling to check on his well-being after this life-altering neck surgery that he had. And I'll get this open real quick. And the Green Bay Packers, who are oftentimes known for how well they treat their players and fans, is facing some major backlash after one of their former players, Sterling Sharp, disclosed some troubling information. Green Bay apparently didn't follow up a single time after an injury led to the end of his career. And he played in only 7 years in the NFL, all with the Packers, as his career was cut short by a neck injury that robbed him of the chance to have a much greater career than what he had already put together by the time he was forced to hang up his cleats. Nevertheless, Sharp's legacy in the NFL has been furthermore immortalized when he finally got his brass bust in Canton in 2025 by getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There is no denying anymore where he stands among the greats in the game. Despite finally getting a Pro Football Hall of Fame call, Shannon Sharp recently opened up about an old wound, one that happened during a tough time. And this is a quote. "I could die on the operating table," Sharp said during an appearance with his brother and the fellow Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp's popular podcast, Club Shay Shay. And he said, "Not one person from the Green Bay Packers organization said, 'Hey, how'd your surgery go?' Not one person from the organization came to visit him, anything." And Sterling also said that he was bothered about not getting checked on by the Packers after his surgery, but instead he was disappointed by it. And to me, that just screams that they really didn't care for him. They only cared for him on the field once he was no good for him, he was disposable.
Well, I'm sorry. What year was this, though? I can't remember when Sterling Sharp played. He just entered the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was in the 90s. He took a few times to get in. He's been out of the league for quite a while. So 1993.
Yeah, he was just inducted last week.
Yep.
Yeah, when I was there.
You know, what a lack of not only communication, but empathy or heart or anything. Wouldn't you think that the team would reach out right after your surgery? "Hey, how did your surgery go?" Or reach out to your family or something? I would be greatly disappointed. And the fact that he's held on to this angst and anger for all these years, because he played back in the 90s.
Yeah, he was. You could obviously tell he's
when the Lions
got a little animosity, if you will.
Yeah, when the Lions hosted the Packers at Ford Field, and Brett Favre hit Sterling Sharp in the back of the end zone wide open to win that game. That guy, he put daggers in my heart. I was not a big fan of Sterling Sharp. But I can't believe that the Packers organization, even back then, did this to him.
And that was a neck injury that ended his career, was it not?
Yes, it was.
I thought. Yeah, he was a hell of a football player, man. I hated seeing the last name Sharp on the football field during a Lions game.
Mm-hmm.
Those dudes always made football plays. Always making some crazy acrobatic catches. All right, so let's dip off into the Bears here. So obviously the Bears have been all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
Not good news. Caleb Williams is struggling big time in camp, and I found it hilarious yesterday when we highlighted the things that I was saying about Caleb that Colin Coward was also saying, and someone else was also saying about him that body language is bad. Like, it's really bad. To be a leader on a football team, to be the quarterback, like, your body language has to be above reproach, right? You have to show the guys you want it. If you don't show the rest of the team that you can get through it, that you're going to fight through it, and that you're there for them, they're not going to be there for you. And this kind of goes back to last year. He took 68 sacks. And then they changed out the entire offensive line, just about. You know why? I mean, this just popped into my head last night. You know why I think that is, Eric? I don't think they respected Caleb Williams. No. I think that offensive line allowed him to get his ass kicked. I don't think they liked him at all. And that stuff does happen. You know, you get some guys that are unblocked all of a sudden, and you're going down. So how many times did we see him go down against the Lions? He did not want to get up.
Yep.
He looked pitiful. And I think that was the main reason why they had to readjust that offensive line. They had to find some guys that could start over. You know, it's going to be hard to start over with Caleb Williams with the things that he's already said, the things that have surfaced about being drafted to Chicago and not wanting to go there. I think the writing's already on the wall. I think his career is over before it's even been started. I think he's done. I think that Caleb Williams is not going to make it much further. He might get another year, maybe 2 in the league, and then he's going to be just like Justin Fields, and he's going to be on the trade block going somewhere. And then he might phase out after that. You know, he's got enough money. He doesn't even need to play football anymore. So, all right, tell us what's going on here with the Chicago Bears. And then I got about 2 minutes of the end of a video of Tyson Bagent that I wanted to bring in, hear what he thinks about Caleb Williams and the offense. And then I'm going to give you my reason why I think he's saying it.
All right, that was an interesting statement. So, is Benedict Johnson giving up on Caleb Williams already? And what do I mean by that? Well, he heaped praise on Tyson Bagent yesterday, and he smothered it on. And this is something he never did, and I've never heard for Caleb Williams. And this is what he had to say about Bagent. Man, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's smart as a whip. Appreciate the seriousness and the intent that he brings every time he walks into a room, meeting room, walkthrough. It doesn't matter. He's locked in. He's focused. I think his teammates feel that from him. Love the fact, you know, he'll throw the ball and keep working through his progression just so it goes home with exactly where everyone's going to be in case he has to move on. I think he's taken this seriously. He's preparing the right way, and I couldn't be more thrilled that he's here with us. Have you ever heard Ben Johnson say that about Caleb Williams?
No, and it's the reason why I wanted to bring this video in, which is 20 minutes long, and I would love to just go through the whole thing, but and maybe we can. But there's some interesting stuff that he says in here. When I get to my spot, I'll tell you why. But no, I haven't heard Ben Johnson act like this about Caleb. Actually, yes. When he left Detroit.
Yeah.
But then since it's been either nothing at all or very little.
Yeah, I just mean during this training camp. Have you heard him gush about Williams during training camp?
No, I really haven't.
No.
We've
heard nothing but negative things coming out of all the national media, all the beat reporters for the Bears. We've heard nothing but negative about Caleb Williams. And then to hear him just gushing about Tyler Bagent was quite hysterical last night when I came across this little article. And I couldn't believe the things he was saying. And I actually watched the video of him talking, and you could hear the inflection in his voice. Just like when I was reading that, you could tell he really, really likes Bagent and what he's doing, the way
does he like Bagent, or is he casting a safety net?
I don't know.
That's where I'm going to go with it. I think, yeah. And by the way, David Napier, I'm sure that you've already sent your like in. But when the ads are killing you guys like that's why we hate the ads. That's why it's so important that we get these likes up to 75 before 8:30 in the morning, and then we can go ad free the rest of the show. We don't care about the money. Obviously the money goes to a good place, but it's more so getting to grow, right? We want to grow. And pretty soon we'll be running some other ads and things where we don't necessarily need, YouTube really at all. The good thing is we're getting close. So here's the thing, man. I think that Ben Johnson stepped into a heaping pile of dung. I think he shows up to Chicago. He's excited. And now, like I've said for the last couple of days, I compared him to Patricia a few days ago, that he walks in and he's just setting the feet to fire. And he's just being so rough and gruff. He's not trying to, create relationships, it seems like. It's just Trace, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it the drill sergeant when you go to military camp for the first time, your first 90 days, that they're just in your face screaming at you, right? And you see it. I watched Sniper last night, and that dude was just all up in his face when he was going through SEAL training. That's what I see Ben Johnson doing. I see Ben Johnson just completely alienating himself against the team, but this team is probably going to push back when you look at the win-loss column at the end of the year and not care if they win football games. They're getting paid, and they could move on as long as they play fairly well, but they do just enough to lose. Well, that puts Ben under the hot seat. It puts Ryan Poles under the hot seat. And I think that everyone's going to blame Ben when the Bears do lose. I don't think that they're going to blame the players. They're going to blame Ben. You take a team that, was 4-13 last year? Or 5-12 or something like that?
Yeah, 5-12.
If they're not better by double the wins, then it's an epic failure and collapse for this Ben Johnson, the best offensive coordinator in the league, so to speak. Yeah, that's not true. Here's what I want to do. I want to highlight this video real quick because he was asked a direct question, Tyson Bagent, on if Caleb Williams is ready. Can Caleb Williams, we'll just listen to what he said. I've been trying to turn the volume up on these. I figured out something that I can turn the volume up on just the backside without affecting the entire experience. So I hope the volume is loud enough. If it's not, let me know. I'll try to turn it up and we'll just rewind it. It looks like I added some dBs to it. All right, so this is Tyson Bagent on Wadley and Sylvie in it's a Chicago 1000 on AM, ESPN Chicago 1000 on the AM channel there over in Chicago. Here we go.
Fantastic. Gino and Marty's is good. The Trivoli Tavern is off the chain. And those are those are a few that kind of ring a bell whenever I think about the best spots that I've been.
Before we let you go, is Caleb ready for a big year this year?
Oh, I think that, man, listen, this dude's going to light it up. I mean, I think those big boys that they got for us up front are as real as it gets. I think our defense is flying around out there under Dennis Allen. They're doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. They're setting the tone every day. It feels like we're live every day. I mean, with how those guys are flying around, I think all the young guys that we have athlete-wise on the offensive side are going to gel right in with guys like DJ and Rome and Cole, who are already submitted themselves as threats. I think those big boys are going to help the run game, and I think the staff is going to help Caleb so much, just not have any gray area. Everything that he does, there will be a rhyme and a reason to. And then, like I said, when coach don't call, go play. I mean, who better to play the scramble drill than 1-8? I don't think there's a lot of people doing it like him right now. So I'm excited to see how that all unfolds this year.
It's a good quarterback room, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, Caleb, obviously, there's a relationship there from last year. Austin Reed, the same thing. And then I think the addition of Case Keenum has just kind of made everybody gel a little bit closer together. There's a lot of excitement in that room, a lot of experience and wisdom with Case, and he's not shy at all. So he'll gives it to us honestly every day. Tells us what it is, talks to us about a situation that he's maybe experienced or been in his career. And then you've got JT Barrett, and nobody's more excited to show up day in and day out than JT. And it's cool because he was the man at Ohio State, and we were all watching him. So that's just a kind of a cherry on top. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing so far. And I think that
So the last part that he said there is the record's going to show it at the end of the year. Now, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong here, but over the last week, 10 days, we've heard nothing but horror stories coming out of Chicago. He's asked a question very simply, is Caleb Williams ready? And he goes off to talking about all these good things, that there's so much high energy in the room. The quarterback room is all gelled together, and and how this offense is really pulling together. And like he said, they're going to all gel. And he starts talking about Cole Kmet and Colston and Roma Dunzi and the offensive line, bringing in all these big boys that, they're in a good spot. We've heard anything but that. From people at camp, the reports coming out of camp, the videos that we're watching, we've heard anything but that. But here's why I believe Tyson Bagent said what he said. Because Ben Johnson said what he said. Tyson wants to be the number 2. We know he's not going to be the number 1. Tyson is fighting Case Keenum for the number 2. So if that's the case, I think he's just blowing hot air. I think he's just blowing smoke and mirrors just to make himself look good, because he knows Tyson's smart. He knows that Caleb is going to burn this down and he's going to get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's saying that. He doesn't want to alienate himself from the offensive line and the playmakers. He wants to build that trust. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the gut feeling that I got when I watched this. And after everything that I've read and what we've seen, I'm like, there ain't no way this dude's telling the truth right now. He just wants to be in a good position when he knows that the keys are going to get handed to him to save the season. That's what I think. Tell me I'm wrong. What do you think?
Tyson sounds like the better teammate to me. He sounds like a well-prepared, well-spoken teammate that is going to say the PR thing that is proper to say. He knows how to say it. He knows when to say it. And he says it right away with no hesitation. That is the kind of teammate you want. That is the kind of person you want. And listen, if you reversed those roles and Caleb was the backup and Tyson was the starter, do you think that Caleb is going to talk the way that Tyson did about the person ahead of him, saying, oh, he's having a phenomenal camp and things are going to go great and it's going to be awesome? But he talked about Caleb for 2 seconds and then deflected and started talking about the offensive line and the defense and all this other stuff. So he didn't have to talk about Caleb, but
Bingo.
he did mention and say, yes, he's doing really good. Wink, wink, and
I got to pause. I think you're exactly right with that. And that's what I noticed too. It was like, oh, Caleb. Yeah. Let me talk about the offensive line, and to your other point, if he was the number 1 right now, I'm going to take it a step further. If Caleb was the backup and he was not drafted number 1 overall and he was the backup on this team right now, he's gone. After these incidents over the last couple of weeks in camp, I would say that he's on the hot seat. He's out of there. That's what I would be saying about Caleb Williams. I don't even think we're talking about him being on the team. I honestly feel that Tyson is a smart dude. He sees what's happening. He's just trying to keep himself on the squad because at some point he's probably going to get a shot. If for some reason Tyson gets let go, that is a dude I would want in Detroit. That kind of attitude, and he is a pretty good football player. He really is.
Now,
I can't say he's better than what we have, but he is a pretty good football player.
You're bringing that up, and in the article that I was reading about Ben Johnson talking so great about Tyson Bagent, they went on later in that article talking about should the Chicago Bears trade Bagent before the season, so that way Caleb is the clear number 1. There is no controversy. There is no fan interaction, chanting Tyler Bagent before the games when they want Caleb to come out. So then they can keep Case Keenum. They can use him as a trade chip. Maybe they can get something for him. And there's a lot of QB needy teams this time of year. What would you think about that?
I mean, I get it. I totally get it. I'm just going to reiterate what I've been saying, man. I think that Tyson's in a good spot. And I think that the Bears, obviously, they'd be wise to to try to highlight Caleb and remove all the distractions like you just mentioned. I think that would be the smart play, but at the same time, the smarter play is to keep as many good backups around your starter if you sense that, you know, there could be some problems down the line. Caleb has been nothing but a distraction himself. You know, that's all he's been, is a distraction. You're up against it, so do you want to do your final take of the day?
Yeah. So my final take of the day, I'm going to take something out of the chat that somebody said. It was Dave Cameron. He said Caleb may be the next Andre Ware. And that's a perfect analogy. Someone that's the #1 overall pick, all this hype, all the talent in the world, and just can't put it together between the ears. And so I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Caleb Williams might be the next Andre Ware. That's awesome. I love that comment.
Man, I have more respect for Andre Ware than wow. I don't know about that, but I hear you. I get it. Man, are we talking biggest bust ever, like Ryan Leaf bust?
Yeah, maybe. That would be you know, as a Lions fan, it would be hysterical. I don't want to see anybody bust out of the NFL, but it would be very funny. We have a preseason game tomorrow, and I don't know if you're going to get to it today. I don't know if we'll get to it tomorrow, but if you have the video from yesterday of the players talking and it had DJ Reader,
yeah,
my God, if we can watch the DJ Reader part, I laugh so hard. It's so funny.
Yeah, he's awesome. I was going to do it this morning and had it all queued up.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow morning. That'd be awesome.
So tomorrow is obviously game preview.
Yep.
So that's what we got to work on for that. If you, I'll send you over a new sheet.
Okay.
So that you can kind of see what I'm working on. I was kind of looking at last year's. It's been a minute since I've done a game preview. But we've got the whole season to preview yet. But the game preview for tomorrow, it's fairly simple. But we're gonna break it down for you guys tomorrow. I'm probably going to be doing it tonight, my version, and then we'll bring Eric in tomorrow to do his version with me, kind of giving you the goods for the game, since, I mean, we're not going to see any starters, but all right, man, we'll see you tomorrow, and I'll catch you on later this evening. Have fun doing your rock hunting today.
Yeah, I'm going to go do some rock hunting. Maybe I'll find something.
Have a good day.
See ya.
We'll see you, Eric. Take care. The one and only Eric Rintamaki is out. He has left the building, and now it's just me. You know what? I am going to bring back that video because I do want to break down Tyson Bagent a little bit more. Eric can listen to it in the car or in his Lions truck. But I think he said some good things in here, and there could be some things we can pick apart. I am going to fast forward a little bit through some areas when they start talking about their favorite restaurants, because I could care less, even though some really good food from Chicago sounds great.
Tyson Bagent, who joins us now on ESPN 1000. Tyson, thanks for coming to the studio.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
I didn't recognize him with the short
And
haircut.
they have the most terrible audio ever.
Again.
When did you decide to get rid of the flow, as Waddle called it?
It wasn't too much. Oh, no, that's a lie. When we got back for OTAs in the spring, we were in phase 1. It came out of the bun that I had it in, trying to
forever. He's got long hair.
He does.
Absolutely keep it. I think the hair is.
You're a football junkie, aren't you? And I say that with love in my voice. Like, that's a compliment. You just love everything that football has to offer, don't you?
Yeah, it's been good to me and my family. Yeah, I've had a hell of a time playing too. So, beats being a plumber, as Bill Belichick would say. And so I really just,
beats being a plumber, man. Famous quote by Bill Belichick.
It just so happens to be football. So super glad where I'm at.
Yeah.
You were talking to us a little off the air about Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson talking about you and saying that I think your words just now were, this coaching staff plays no games.
Absolutely.
Explain that. What does that mean, this coaching?
All right, so this is exactly why I wanted to bring this in. And I wish that I would have done this with Eric too, but he'll see it. The thing that they're about to talk about in the exact phrase, I don't know which Waddle or Sylvie, whoever that is, that this coaching staff plays no games. I think that there's a difference between a coaching staff that literally plays no games, are very strict, but they're doing things the right way. They're teaching things the right way, but they don't accept, failures, right? You need to get better at everything that you do. I think that Dan Campbell and his squad, they don't play games. That is a coaching staff that does it right? They try to coach you up, teach you up. They give you enough love along the way, but then they give you the tough love on your way down. When you're having a bad day, when you're having a bad rep, you're going to get that tough love. You're going to get yelled at, but then they're going to bring you back up, right? The psychology about it all, being a coach or being a teacher is, sometimes you got to hit them in the mouth and sometimes you got to kiss them on the mouth, right? That's an old training phrase that I learned a long time ago when I used to train people in sales. Sometimes you just got to punch them in the mouth and you got to tell them like it is. You got to give them that tough love, man, that brutal honesty, the brutal truth about what they're really doing right or wrong. And then after you've kicked their dick in the dirt, which is the other one that I was taught, well, then you gotta kiss them in the mouth and bring them back up, make them feel human again, and put their ego back together. And that's exactly what I think that Dan Campbell and our coaching staff for the Detroit Lions does, and they do at a very high level. For this side, for Chicago and the Bears, I just think they don't have a clue. But at the same time, Ben Johnson has put an extremely good cast of coaches around all these guys. But you know what I'm sensing? I'm sensing a bunch of individuals. And that's the problem. You probably have a few guys that are a little bit rogue. And then you have Ben Johnson, who's just all out of sorts, just screaming at everybody. But let's listen to what he says about this coaching staff playing no games.
Staff plays no games.
I just think everything has been black and white since we got there. A lot of times, and it's not a lot, but you'll see in seasons that I've been a part of where there can sometimes be gray area. Maybe with just how something's handled, with a play that maybe somebody likes but somebody else doesn't like, or given the quarterback maybe too many options on a play. And there may be some gray area on, hey, I think you should have chose this side instead of this side. With everything that we have going on right now, I think, as long as you do lock in and hone in on all the information being spewed at us, there's a method to the madness on each play. Which I think has been great. If you mess up, it's already been talked about beforehand, and so we can go back, hey, no, this is what we said, This is where we want to go with the ball, this is going to put us in the best situation on this play, and there is a rhyme and a reason for everything that we have going on, which puts everything on the player, which I tend to like more than having to overcome maybe a coaching flaw or something of that nature. So it's been great so far. But yeah, absolutely, they don't play any games. You will be broadcasted in front of the team, and nobody wants to get broadcasted in front of the team. So I think it's brought a lot.
This is a job.
It's brought a lot of competition.
Okay, so there you go. You do something wrong, you're going to get broadcasted in front of the team. That is probably the most demoralizing thing anybody could go through. It's just like being at your place of employment, whatever that is. You do something wrong. Is your boss going to come pull you out of your office or pull you off the sales floor or whatever? You're working in a cubicle. I don't know, whatever you're doing, right? And then go pull you in front of everybody, make you stand up on the desk and just start berating you and screaming at you and belittling you. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that HR would probably be involved pretty quickly, right? You're getting called out. So I don't see how that is beneficial, right? But at the same time, being at practices enough times in the last 5 years with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and the way that they do things and the way that this coaching tree of Dan Campbell does things. Yeah, they get screamed at and yelled at to get into position to do the right things, to make the right calls. I have never seen, I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I've never seen or heard where someone has just been absolutely called out, individually and berated for what they did wrong. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think it happens to a lesser degree where they're trying to coach, counsel, and correct. The 3 C's. You coach, counsel, and correct to make sure that they don't do it again. Let's listen to what else he had to say.
to the facility, and why not? I mean, they pay us all this money. What for? We should be held to the highest standard, and I think that's what's going on right now.
So how would you describe Ben Johnson to people? Because we have demanded, and as we were telling you off the air, we wanted Ben Johnson to be hired once there was a vacancy. And everyone has demanded more accountability and a better offensive coach. And then yet people say to us, oh, yeah, hang the training camp banner up, because we're talking about how great the practice looked yesterday and how different it is. People obviously want to see results. But how can you best describe how he is in front of the room, how he is with the quarterbacks, and then how he is in practice?
Yeah, I think, kind of when describing Ben, obviously everybody wanted because of the mastermind, behind, in the offensive scheme that he was putting together, and all the numbers that they were putting up, and the different things he was able to do. Because, I forgot who said it, but I mean, Ben's got it.
Hold on, who's they? Right? He said all the numbers that they were putting up. Well, that's us. Ask the Detroit Lions, Tyson. Come on over.
Deep bag, and he's very creative, and he cares a lot about what's going on. But I think the most underrated thing that I've seen so far is just how he does command the room as soon as he walks in. There's no filler words. He's straight to the point. He's not holding us in the team meeting room for a very long time. He says what he needs to be said. He talks about what's expected of us for the day and going forward, what our goals are. And kind of like I said, you always leave every meeting feeling crystal clear, very black and white on, what is expected of yourself today, which I couldn't be more thrilled about. But, really to explain him, very fiery, stoic, straight to the point. And, you talk about me loving football. I don't think there's many people that love football the way that he does. He, like I've said before, he's able to go down deep into the rabbit hole with each position and talk very in depth about, what's expected, what he thinks needs to happen, and kind of everybody's plan going forward. So I think it's been a home run so far.
He's really
okay. So Tyson is saying that Ben Johnson is very fiery, very stoic, obviously high energy, but he's very short sentence to the point, and gets what he's got to get out of his mouth quickly. Doesn't have these guys hanging out in the meeting rooms very long. Oftentimes that can come across very, very different to different people. I am one that is known to be very straight to the point. Tell it like it is. No sugarcoating. That brutal honesty, that brutal truth. But usually I try to do it with a little bit of fact behind it, a little bit of an explanation. So I can go the other way and be very long-winded. I think all of you know I can be very long-winded. I talk for hours on end every day. There's a difference, I think, when you join a team. You've never been a head coach before. There's a difference between a Bill Belichick that walks into the room who is that way. He is almost identical to that way that he was just describing Ben Johnson. Very, very, very strict, straight to the point, limited words, no word salad going on. Demands, a lot of high expectation. But he's earned that respect to where players are going to look up to you. And if you're extra fiery and extra short with guys, and you're criticizing and calling guys out, so to speak, putting them on a pedestal for the wrong reasons, there's going to be a big difference between Ben Johnson and Bill Belichick doing that. Bill Belichick has multiple Super Bowls. Ben Johnson, first-time head coach. You have to earn the respect of the room. When Dan Campbell came in, we got to see a lot of it through Hard Knocks. I believe that was the second season. His speeches, man, the way that he directed the team, if all of that was done just for TV purposes, I would be disappointed. Because if that's how I envisioned Dan Campbell to be in the majority of the time with the team, he comes with reasoning. There's a reason why we're going to do this. There's an end result to all of this, right? We're going to go through the fire to get out on the other side untouched. We're going to lead the guys out to deep water. We're going to be the last one swimming. All the things that he said, all the Dan Campbell-isms. But I think at what you've heard from all of the football players that have gone into Detroit is, man, I don't want to play for anybody else. And you're hearing it around the league. All I hear is, I need to go play for Dan Campbell. Will they be saying the same thing about Ben Johnson in a couple of years? I don't know. I don't see it yet. It's early. I don't see it yet, but it's early.
Put together an excellent staff as well. Speak to like those guys, whether it's Antoine Randall or Bieniemy or the group that is helping coach the quarterbacks, Dennis Allen, Al Harris. Like it not only has been impressive, the group that he has assembled is very impressive.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. There's a lot of high pedigree guys that are serving as position coaches, which I think when you're able to make that happen, I think special things can happen. The other thing is that there's more player coaches, like coaches that have played in their past on the team as well. You talk about Randall L., you talk about EB, you talk about JT Barrett, Jim Dre. Yeah. Everybody has or not everybody, but most people have a history of having played the game. So I think there's a little bit more of an understanding as a player when you're receiving this information from somebody who's actually been in your shoes before and played at the highest level. But yeah, everybody's got a lot of excitement. I think everybody understands coaching and player-wise what their role is, which is huge. You know, when you got somebody that feels like they're in a role that maybe they deserve a little more, I think that's where you can probably have some friction go on, not just as players, but as coaches as well. So I think everybody is doing their job and filling their role to the best of their ability. There's no butting heads. Everybody knows what is expected, player and coaching-wise. And the whole staff, to me, has been a pleasant surprise for me as well.
Nobody has more responsibility in that huddle than you as a quarterback. How difficult is it for you, any quarterback, whether it's you or it's Caleb, to be learning another offense year after year? Like for you, this will be the third offense in 3 years. Same with Caleb as well, correct? Like, yeah. So how difficult is that change?
I think the most important thing that comes with learning a new offense is forgetting the old offense. I've known that to be the biggest thing since I've gotten to the league, because you've got a lot of people use the same words, they just mean completely different things. So I think a lot of it is being able to, after the season ends, obviously we knew we were going to have a new staff and a new offensive scheme and all that good stuff. So I think being able to forget the old stuff that you were doing and be able to really try to freshen your brain up for the new terminology that's on its way has been the biggest thing for me. And then other than that, it's really not that difficult, because there's only one decision to make, and that's just you have to put your face in the playbook for as long until you damn near start crying, is what I like to do. So
when you hear the coach compliment you for just that, that has to validate.
All right, I want to pause it there for just a moment. One, talking about the world-class coaching tree that they have there in Chicago. Dennis Allen, right? Let me just pull up their full coaching staff. So you've got Dennis Allen as the DC, obviously Ben Johnson as the head coach, Declan Doyle as offensive coordinator. I'm not as familiar with him. Richard Hightower as special teams coordinator. But they brought in JT Barrett from the Detroit Lions as the quarterback's coach. They brought in Eric Bieniemy as the running backs coach, which obviously I think Eric Bieniemy should have been the OC, to be honest. I think that Eric Bieniemy would be great there. Antoine Randall L., wide receivers coach. Jim Dre as the tight ends coach. I'm not familiar with him either. Press Taylor, I'm not familiar with him as the pass game coordinator. Robbie Picasso as the assistant QB wide receivers coach. I'm not familiar with him. But me not being familiar with them doesn't matter. Their DBs and pass game coordinator Al Harris, I am familiar with him. It doesn't matter if I'm familiar. What we've heard is this is a world-class coaching room. So they should be able to do some great things. The other thing that he was talking about is, learning the offensive scheme, and I could care less about any of that. That's the same for everybody. But what I did pick out of this is he keeps mentioning studying the playbook and being in the playbook. Last year it was Caleb Williams could barely get this offense rolling, and we've already heard a ton of issues with Caleb Williams not being able to get this offense rolling. Is he taking a pot shot passive aggressively towards Caleb Williams by saying you need to be in the playbook until, like me, like he's starting to cry and later he corrects himself. But I get the point that he's trying to make here is that you need to study that playbook day in, day out, as much time as you need to spend on it until you are a master at this playbook. It's all new. It's a ton of different nuance, right? Coming from Ben Johnson. The language in that changes from year to year anyway. But I think he's taking some pot shots, trying to say that, maybe someone's not fully ready without saying it.
All the hard work you've put in and make you feel that, hey, I'm doing it the right way, and Ben is acknowledging it.
Yeah, it's definitely good to hear. It's definitely good to hear, praise from somebody like that. Especially like you said, with how hard I like to think that I work, it definitely is a rewarding feeling. And that just really has always been the only option for me, especially just how grateful I am to understand that I'm in the National Football League. It's just, can't even believe it. So, I'll just keep doing that year after year. If I have a different offense every year in my career, I'll just learn the ins and outs of it as fast as I can and just keep this thing rolling.
I have two questions on that. We're talking to Tyson Bagent. He's in studio with us. It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. You said just now that you still can't believe you're in the National Football League. This is year 3 for you. Like, you're no longer the Cinderella, but you still feel blessed that you're here from where you came from?
Oh, yeah, I'm from Martinsburg, West Virginia. This is all unbelievable stuff that's going on right now.
I'm going to fast forward
it is slow living where I'm from.
So take us through your day. Like you were talking about, you're in the playbook until you cry. So
cry might have been a stretch. Just maybe until my eyes hurt and
sure.
piss myself off enough to put it down.
We've all been there, yeah. And so you take us through the day when you wake up, where you get to the facility, and then what you do on your own.
All right, we'll just do a training camp day because that's the schedule's always changing, but this is the newest schedule that's fresh on my mind. We've been practicing at 8:30. That ranges from anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, depending on the load of the day.
When you get there, what time for that?
I'll wake up. So I'll usually wake up at 6.
I'm going to go through this too.
I think it was good. I think they got a good idea, especially in the interior. Who's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it on purpose. Maybe playing some mind games, trying to see who's who the dog. Walking around like you're not allowed to touch anybody, whatever that is. Do I think that maybe dudes could get banged up? I don't know. I'm a fan. I mean, he warned everybody what kind of day, as opposed to dudes walking around like you're not allowed to touch anybody, whatever that is.
So I'm trying to get to the spot.
I'm not the one to know the science behind it or anything like that.
Transpired as the Dolphins come to town on Friday. Do you think yesterday's practice was necessary to have a violent practice like that and have all that?
So apparently there was a violent practice in Chicago. I don't know much about this. The first time I heard about it was here. I didn't hear it highlighted anywhere else. So they had a pretty violent, rough practice. Now the Lions had a couple of tough days with some injuries in that, maybe some hits that weren't supposed to happen. Dan Campbell had to stop practice a few times. And so I haven't read into what the violent practice was, but this is the last part that I really wanted to highlight. And maybe I think he touches on the offensive line in here too.
Transpired as the Dolphins come to town on Friday?
I'm not the one to know the science behind it or anything like that. I will say that it is far more fun of a practice when it's going like that, and as opposed to dudes walking around like you're not allowed to touch anybody, whatever that is. Do I think that maybe dudes could get banged up? I don't know. I'm a fan. I mean, he warned everybody what kind of day it was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it on purpose, maybe playing some mind games, trying to see who's, who the dogs are, when they're going to come out. Because you can't really go too many live situations when you're just going through training camp. But yeah, I think it was good. I think they got a good idea, especially in the interior. Who's going to come to play, who knows what they're doing, who's aggressive and who's not. So yeah, I'd say it went pretty well.
Give us a scouting report on some of the guys in your offensive huddle. Whether it's DJ, it's Rome, it's Colston, the new guy, it's Luther, it's Cole, whoever it is. When you walk in that huddle and you see that group, what do you think?
Well, I haven't been walking in that huddle, but
I'm sure some of those guys are in there when you're in there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the only thing I think of in the huddle, obviously, I'm not going to put anybody on blast, right? But I look at the 2 or 3 guys that I don't know if they know this play that I'm about to say. and I hone in on them, and then I enunciate my words like you wouldn't believe. Like I talk slow motion to these dudes so that there's no miscommunication on what is going on, because if everything goes well this year, you know, I'll have a great training camp, I'll have a great preseason, and then I won't get to play that much, right? So these reps are my whole year. So if there's other dudes that are gonna be messing up my reps, nothing keeps me up at night more than something like that, where everything's good, I was ready, but then, you know, you just got a couple dudes that are not on the same page, and when that happens, you know, all chaos breaks loose, and it looks like we're playing backyard football, and you know, I'm getting a MA and a minus or whatever. I'm just not into it. So obviously that's the thing I think of. Obviously none of those guys that you named are ever a part of that. Everybody is on their P's and Q's, but there's always just maybe a couple dudes that I just stare at when I call the play, you know, because I know, based on past things that have happened, that potentially there could be a bad situation arise. So I try to just eliminate that to the best of my ability and then just play the play out.
You don't want anybody to.
All right, so I'm going to comment on this because, and this is for Lions fans, for our team, what we witnessed in the Hall of Fame game. You had a lot of dudes probably staring at each other sideways, right? I see your mouth moving, but I ain't hearing any words, right? That's what they're saying to each other, because a lot of people don't know what they don't know yet. And they don't know the news system as well as they probably should. And it was an early game for the Lions. It was a very early test. And Tyson Bagent, I mean, I think that he just did a good job at stating what a lot of backups have to go through, backup quarterbacks, and what it's like this early in the season, that you're going to have some hiccups, man. You're going to have some problems. I know that somebody or some people, some stations out there, some content creators are trying to say that maybe, you know, what's going on in Detroit is not as good as it should be, that maybe we're having some trouble with the two new coordinators. Well, one, I can tell you the defense is just fine. And two, I've said this before, if you have been in Lions training camp for 5+ years now, covering the team, and you're printing bullshit that's saying that, well, they don't look very good because they didn't do well in the Hall of Fame game, then you clearly don't know football. Like Tyson Bagent just made it very clear for everybody to understand. Backup quarterbacks have problems with the younger guys, the newer guys that maybe don't know enough just yet, or maybe haven't learned all the playbook just yet, and he has to slow down and enunciate extremely slowly to make sure that nobody's missing the play. But that still doesn't mean that they're going to go out and execute at a high level. So, why I'm saying all that is to say this. I get really sick and tired of seeing all the negativity being printed. And I feel like some of these writers are just SOL fans that are never going to come to the other side. No matter what the Lions do, it's never good enough, right? And to not understand how early it is in practice right now for the Lions to have some growing pains. It's going to happen. It's going to be there. But that doesn't mean come week one, when you've got your ones in the game, you actually have your left tackle in the game, you got your quarterback underneath the center, and you've got your starters out there, that it's going to be the same thing. Just like Tyson said, the first guys that they mentioned on the first string, he's not in that huddle, but he did make sure to say that all those guys know their stuff. Same thing, same thing going on in Detroit. Our guys know what's going on that are on the first team. They understand. They get it. They know what to do, and Jared Goff's going to have them ready. So I feel like Tyson hit the nail on the head. I think it explains a lot about what happened in Detroit for the first game, or for Detroit in the first game. And yes, I'm sick and tired of all of the bullcrap narratives that get printed about this team. Like, go find a different job if you can't find the truth.
Taking money out of your pockets.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, this is my life's work.
That's
I'm trying to put on tape.
This is not fun.
This is my life's work. I'm trying to put on tape.
Job.
I mean, I don't want problems with anybody on the team, but wow.
So you'll
the
call
quickest
them out.
way.
Will you call them out afterwards?
So sorry, I had to pause it again. He's about to ask him if he's going to call out these players afterwards. But good comment in the chat here by Jay Cruzen saying complaining because practice sucked is hilarious. Who was? Oh my God, I need this downloaded. Iverson. He was being asked about practice, and then who was it? Jim Mora. We talking about practice? Practice? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're talking about practice. If practice sucked, who cares? That's why you have practice. Right? Unless you put 10,000 hours in at something, you're not a master. You need to put some time in to get good. Brand new offensive coordinator. It's going to take a minute for some of the younger guys to gel. Some of the guys that have been around the league that understand what's going on. It's a change of language. It's still the same play. It's exactly right. That's why it's called practice. Quit printing bullcrap. You know, print it, but don't put it in the perspective that, oh my God, the Lions are in trouble. Maybe things aren't going to be as easy as they're supposed to be. Maybe the new offense is going to struggle out of the gates. Or maybe say, yeah, you know what? These guys are young and they don't know exactly what's going on yet. That's why they're practicing. They're looking better. They made some good plays here, some bad plays here, but we see some good trajectory and some good progression here. There's a big difference with the way that people write and how it frames the vision of your team. Just by simply reading 4 or 5 articles, you'll see the difference. I just read too many articles.
Will you have a talk with them?
Yeah, and I try not to go too hard because obviously I know that nobody's intentionally trying to do the wrong thing. But yeah, that's why I just tried, like I said, like I just kind of dove into a little bit. That's why I try to refrain from any of that happening. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, it works and everything goes well.
Well, it's no different than, like, you would never ask anybody to do something you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. So if you're going to put the time and the effort in, you would expect the guys in the huddle with you to be following the same process.
Yeah, which is why I think it's huge to just really just, with the whole iPad thing and the playbook, really just honing in on what is our job? What is our job? And then we can react to the defense. You know, we can react to whatever they do. We'll have answers. We'll know what we're doing so well that whatever they do, we have an answer for. So I just try to learn the ins and outs of it, you know, for other reasons like that. As long as I'm a backup in the league, there's going to be young guys that are in my huddle in training camp.
So I guess perspective. Maybe the better way to say it is, who's your favorite guy to throw to?
My favorite guy to throw to? Man.
That you know you can count on. Whether you're in with the first team, the second team, the third team, who's your guy?
Man, they all look good, don't they?
No, come on now.
Man, they all look good, don't they? Wow. Roma Dunze just running around like a gazelle out there. DJ gets the ball, nobody can tackle him. Comet. I mean, wow, nobody's more of a professional than Cole Kmet. Unbelievable. We got the new guy, Loveland, in town. He's unbelievable. Yeah, I couldn't.
Good PC answer here, man. Don't give out a favorite. You will be crucified the rest of your time in Chicago.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a cool dude, man. He's a cool cat, and he's gelling well with that crew, I think, and he's definitely, since he's been practicing with us, he's been effective out there. So I think he'll be good.
So can you take us through, like, I don't know what, I'm not asking you to give away anything. So when you enunciate this and you're looking at the guys, what's the jargon, or can you give us like what a play would sound like?
All right, so that's it. I just wanted to roll through some of this. I know I went a little bit over today, but Tyson Bagent, I thought there's some good things in here. One, you know, kind of giving us an inside look at what's going on with the Chicago Bears being the NFC North. We're going to be highlighting what's going on around the league in the NFC North report. We'll see more things like this. And then, you know, kind of listening in on, you know, some comparatives here between our team, you know, being early in the season and what other, you know, quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, and that's the other reason I didn't say it, but that's the other reason why I brought that up is, you know, with Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's been around for 8 seasons. He obviously knows a lot more than Hendon Hooker does. He's seen a few more things. He's bounced around to a few more teams. So he's going to understand. That's why he may look better initially, but when Hendon gets his feet underneath him, Dan Campbell still has full confidence in the guy. So when Hendon gets his feet underneath him, I think that things are going to be okay. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but things are going to be okay. And then it's just grow from there. Anyway, good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow morning. You guys have a great day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. You guys take care. Bye-bye.